Okay, for this section of the video, we're going to be talking about stats, or ability scores. I'll be using the Dungeons & Dragons systems because that's what I'm most familiar with. In Dungeons & Dragons, the ability scores are Strength, Constitution, Dexterity, Charisma, Intelligence, and Wisdom. Your Strength score is very self-explanatory. It's how strong your character is, how much they can push, how much they can pull, how hard they hit. Your Constitution is how hardy your character is, how many hit points they get, how healthy they are, how hard it is for them to catch a disease, how hard it is for them to be poisoned, things of that nature. Your Dexterity is how nimble your character is on his feet, how light he is on his feet, how easy it is for him to work with his hands, things of that nature. Your Intelligence score is the amount of knowledge that your character has or can perceive. Knowledge are things like book skills, trade skills, things of that nature. Wisdom is more like street smarts. Wisdom is how fast you pick up on things, how easy it is for you to perceive a change in the status quo. You know, if something's been moved out of place, a higher wisdom score will help your perception skill to notice that it's been moved. The final of the 6 scores is your charisma score. Your charisma score is how friendly or personable your character is. Now, this can be role-played out as either being very much of a silver tongue or being very attractive to the opposite sex. In the older system, it was actually more of the latter than it was the former, although it has been balanced out to be more of a people skill than it is an attraction skill, although a lot of gamers still use a high charisma score to indicate that they are attractive. Now, the way you get your stats are you roll dice. Now, the current method in 4th edition, and as far as I can tell in the upcoming 5th edition, you roll 3d6 and you assign the added numbers to any stat that you wish. In older editions of Dungeons & Dragons, you would roll them in order. Your first set of 3d6 would be your strength score. Your second one was your constitution score, and so on and so on. There's a lot of proponents for both sides. A lot of people like being able to assign them wherever they want because then they can tailor a character that is more suited for their class. A lot of people like the old methods because it's more pure, it's more random, it's more indicative of a believable character. Either way is fine. A lot of DMs will actually have house rules for how you do it. Now, after you roll these numbers and assign them, you have to pick out your modifier. Now, the modifier is set based on the number you get. For 10 and 11, you don't get a modifier. For 12 and 13, you get a +1. 14, 15, you get a +2. 16, 17, +3. 18, 19, +4, and so on and so forth. These are called modifiers, and they're used to modify skill checks based on these abilities. For example, if you have to lift a heavy box or try to hold a door open against somebody pushing it shut, you would roll a strength check. And you would take whatever your your 20-sided dice roll and add your strength modifier to determine how hard you're pushing. For an intelligence-based skill like trying to remember something you learned long ago, you would roll the applicable knowledge skill, add the ranks, and your intelligence modifier to your roll, and that would determine how easy it is and how much you actually recall. Now, your modifier also helps you determine your hit points. Each time you gain a level, you have what's called a hit die, and I'll get more into this for later on, that determines how many hit points you get per level. It's a roll of this die plus your constitution modifier for every level of hit points. Now, 3rd edition and 4th edition actually have you starting off at max hit points at first level and then rolling for every level thereafter. Some DMs don't like this because in the old editions it was always a roll, and in 2nd edition and 1st edition you just roll the die. You didn't get a constitution modifier, which for wizards, which had a d4 back in 2nd edition, you could get anywhere from a single hit point to 4 hit points. Now, skill checks are where the modifiers really come in. Your skills are a set of abilities that your character is trained in, whether it be picking locks, building furniture, carpentry, things of that nature. These are all skills. You can train them, you can level them up as you level through the classes. And what you do is you roll a 20-sided die. If you have any ranks or bonuses in the skill, you add that in. And then you add the relevant modifier to determine what your success is on that skill.